The Lord be with you. So, the whole point of this vision discovery process is to see what God is doing in our King of Glory family and where God is taking us. And to do so, we need to look at our past, our present, our future, and ask, what is it that we do? If I say, what are the two or three things that we do? Not everything that we do as a church, but if I say, hey, what do we do? And you can say, oh, we do these two or three things. And I can say, oh, well, why do you do that? What are the values that drive you to do those two or three things? And I say, how do you do that? What's the way, the method of you doing those two to three things? And so the why and the how question, our values and method are part of part of who we are and where God is going to be taking us. So the three values I mentioned last week, that this church is our home. We are Lutheran, and so we do things in a Lutheran way and according to Lutheran values, and we serve one another. So let me start with home and explore that a little bit. So the first way I want to explore is the difference between a house and a home. And in my experience, I've never seen a better illustration of the difference between a house and a home than with my father-in-law. So he's Pop. That's what he was always called by everybody, Pop. So the first time I visited Pop's house, I was going to pick up Monica, I think, and I was trying to knock on the front door, and it had these paint was curling, and it was painful to knock on the door. And it took a while for people to come and see me because nobody ever went through the front door. I'm not even sure they could open it. I think they did open it. Anyway, one of the bathrooms, it was permanently closed. No one ever used it because there was a big hole in the floor. It was like an exterior exit for the dogs to enter and out of the house. And so they just closed off that one bathroom. With that many people using it, I figured they would have fixed it, but they didn't fix it because that's not the kind of house that they had. The other bathroom, I suppose this shows my snootiness, that I always felt like I couldn't get clean in that house. And there was one week when I had to actually stay in the house for a week and live in the house. And I always felt like I was dirty the whole time I was there. And I was always concerned about everything that I ate. And I just kind of had to, calm myself down because it wasn't the kind of house I was used to. So that's the kind of house it was. But let me tell you about the kind of home that Pop had. So the side door, which is the door I should have entered, and I should have known that you just go to the side of the house and you just enter there, because the door was never locked. It was always open, and people were going in and out all the time, grabbing food, washing their laundry. If you were family, if you were friends, the house was always open to you, to all of Pop's 7 children, okay, and their friends. Always open. You needed a place to stay, the house was always open. And even though Pop was, I think I'm pretty accurate in saying this, he was prejudiced toward certain people groups, and yet he had his half Black grandchildren and his half Samoan grandchildren and his Black in-laws and Black friends in the house all the time, and they were always welcome, and they always had a place to eat and always had a place to stay. In other words, I looked at the house and I judged it as a kind of a lacking house, but as a home, could you ask for anything more? A place where there's food, a place where there's a place to sleep, a place where you're accepted for who you are. Even if Pop was sitting there grumbling and complaining underneath his breath, you were always welcome. It was a home. And so then I asked about our congregation. What are we more concerned with? Are we more concerned with our house, or are we more concerned with our home? And I hope you catch the distinction, because I want to know what you truly value and what that means for our King of Glory family. And notice home, family, those two words mean an awful lot to me, but I want to know, what does that mean for you? What does that mean about what we do? And what does that mean about how we do it? How do we provide a home? Because we can put up a sign that says on the outside, we don't care about what's on the outside. We care a whole lot about what's on the inside. And we can just let the place go to whatever, fill in the blank. Does that really matter? What's our priority? Is it home or house? And what does that mean? I really want your feedback, because if you don't give me feedback, that sends a pretty loud message to me. Okay? What does it mean about what we do and how we do it and why we do it? Feedback tells me you actually care. All right? Okay, God's peace be with you. Amen.